Kurt Busch now gathering momentum.
Just showing the nose of his Toyota in the rearview mirror to Kyle Larson.
Outside.
Is he clear up? No. Larson's in the wall. Takes it. Kurt Busch to the lead.
All clear. Come to 7 to go.
45 just put us in the fence.
No, he didn't.
Try to get another runner if you can.
2 to go. Still 15.
Yeah, drive it away every lap, man.
Coming to the checkers. Winner at Kansas, Kurt. Yes, yes, yes! Teamwork! Thank you, guys. Love you. Woo!
Hey everyone, welcome to the preview show here in Studio 3. KC and AC getting you ready for KC. Not quite KC, just outside of Kansas City.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
We're going to Kansas Speedway, one of the most fun tracks on the NASCAR circuit. I know they call it sort of a cookie cutter, but it has its own unique, distinct details to the track. Kansas Speedway always puts on fun racing.
That's right, so the NASCAR Cup Series drivers headed from the first state to the Sunflower State and not a lot of time to prepare.
Not a lot of time at all. No one wants to lose a day of their weekend. That's what happened to the NASCAR field this week. And think about that. For all the teams having to come back, all the preparation they do, it's really going to be a test. This season is a grind. We know it's a long season, but it's the same for everyone in the garage. So it will be a test of who is best prepared for a short week and what can they do with it. They're coming back late on a Monday, have to prepare their cars early on a Tuesday so those hauler drivers can get back out and start heading towards Kansas to the middle of the country. That's a grind on everybody, but we'll see who's the most prepared and who can take advantage.
The hauler drivers doing the heaviest lifting there, but then you think about the fact that teams have limited practice time, so they talk about the emphasis on getting the car ready in the shop. So although the cars are probably closely to fully prepared for Kansas, there's still some minutiae details they have to work on, and now that time, it's winding down.
Yeah, normally you get a day to decompress, maybe get some notes together. No, not this week for these teams. They got to get back from Dover, then they got to put those final setups in the cars for Kansas, just like that.
And one team we're going to be watching this weekend to see if they have what they had last season is 23XI Racing. They swept the races in 2022. Kurt Busch taking home the hardware in the spring, and Bubba Wallace backing it up in the fall for a 23XI sweep at Kansas Speedway.
Both in the 45 car. So maybe that's a good omen for Tyler Reddick, who's now in the 45 car. We know he already has a win this season, so no pressure there. I really am thinking about Bubba Wallace this weekend because we know how good he is. He's the last driver to win in Kansas Speedway, and that puts a lot of pressure on him this weekend because he is outside of the playoff bubble right now. And when you go to a track that you know you are good at, that's a lot of pressure to come out there with as many points as possible. I think back to Dega just a few weeks ago. He should have probably had a win or at least a great points day, ends up crashing, and now he finds himself still outside the bubble. That's a lot of pressure going into a weekend where you know you have to perform. You know you can perform, but you got to get it done. We got to watch Bubba this weekend.
A lot of pressure on Bubba Wallace, a lot of eyes. He is in the spotlight. He's talked about how that can make him crack. So we'll see if he's able to hold it out and get another win at Kansas Speedway this weekend. But I'm looking at not a 23XI driver, but a 23XI owner.
Michael Jordan?
Not quite.
Oh.
Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin, oh yeah.
Denny Hamlin, he's great at Kansas, a 3-time winner there, and he has 3 straight top 5 finishes at Kansas Speedway. So not a 23XI driver, but an owner could end up in victory lane.
Yeah, and that would make it 2 in a row for Toyota if they can win this weekend in Kansas. Valuable for them, valuable for any team though this weekend because filling that notebook was going to be so important. We go back to Kansas in September. It is a playoff race, and if you win in September, that's a straight ticket to the next round in the playoffs. So teams will want to do as much as they can to fill that notebook up. Still, we're still new with this next-gen car, so they're trying to learn everything they can, and we keep going back to 23XI Racing. Look what they did in the spring last year. Got the win, brought it right back in the fall, and got the win again in September. If a team can do that this year, again, it's a straight shot maybe to a title if you're already thinking ahead that far.
But there are 2 things they need to pay attention to as they build those notebooks. A, we're still relatively early in the season. That second Kansas race, not even until the playoffs, so lots of things can change between now and then. And then the second, Kansas weather. I mean, Dorothy can tell you. It changes so significantly there. It has big swings. I think this weekend it's supposed to be in the 80s as the high, but we've been to Kansas where it feels like it's about to snow. So something to keep in mind and take it with a grain of salt as you're putting all those notes into that notebook.
Never know what's going to be like out there in Kansas or anywhere across the NASCAR schedule. We love going to Kansas, been going there for years. We always look back with the NASCAR 75 flashback. We're not going to go back too far this week.
No, we're going to rewind just last year. We talked about it already. The Spring Advent Health 400 of 2022. Kurt Busch absolutely dominating and a very emotional win.
Absolutely, but it came down to the end. It was the young buck versus the old champion, Kurt Busch versus Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson doing Kyle Larson things on the outside, doing everything he could to get by that 45 car. It just wasn't enough. Kurt Busch would go on to win the race. Emotional, big win for him for 23-11. And we can't forget the best part. That paint scheme on the car. It was the Jordan car.
Today. You got the shoes.
Look at that is the Kurt Busch car right there. The paint scheme right there. The Jordans. I mean, everybody loved it. So many cool reasons. But seeing that emotional victory lane, it was fun.
It was fun. We're looking forward to a lot of fun this weekend at Kansas Speedway. Tune in for the Advent Health 400, May 7th, 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1.
And for Kim, I'm Alan. Make sure you join us right back here next week on the preview show. We'll see you then.